Welcome everyone to the Gonzo-19 valedictory essay for the Capstone at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. I'm your host, Bradley J. Burt, founder of Autumn Landmine Productions, the Jaded Patriot Press, Outpost 422, and the Gonzo-19 profile. Gonzo-19 profiles fear and loathing in Las Vegas during the pandemic. The profile also covers public affairs at the Wisconsin State Capitol. And for the final project, we were tasked with a valedictory and essay. For the valedictory essay, the theme was fear and loathing and gonzo journalism. As a member of the National Press Photographers Association, I felt it was necessary for the final project to do a multimedia project. This multimedia project takes into context the start of the Gonzo-19 investigation, which began in August of 2020 and ended March 13th, 2022, when Las Vegas finally became unmasked and everything has returned back to normal. The initial inspection was the airport safety countermeasures coming out of lockdown in May of 2020 and has ended with concert venues answering questions regarding why I chose journalism. Well, gonzo journalism is the reason why I became a reporter. And then I found out later on that hard breaking news doesn't cover gonzo journalism, so I figured, well, why not make that happen? So for this interactive journalism essay, the valedictory essay is written in gonzo format and will now officially be the first interactive gonzo journalist in capstone history for the University of Wisconsin. So let's head over to Mandalay Bay and talk about the journey. I'm Bradley J. Burt reporting in Las Vegas, Nevada in front of the Mandalay Bay. Reflection here today. This video is the end of my college journey and my required essay for my class. And this satisfies what's called an interactive journalism capstone, to connect all forms of media into one medium and then use it under your pen name. So he asks us in these capstone questions for our valedictory essay, why did I come to college? This is why. I came here today because I want to share with you a small story. I came to college because the Veterans Administration provided me as a disabled veteran with a program called Veterans Integration Transitional into Academic Leadership Program. When the individual uses the Veterans Crisis Line, that once they finish their treatment at the Veterans Administration in Madison, they can then move on to Madison College and be students in the classroom. What was I expecting? You know, in the beginning, I really expected that all the professors would respect veterans, but it's not necessarily true. My story is one that shares of both triumph and tragedy, and that the day came when I decided I no longer want to be a victim anymore. After I had been love bombed and gaslighted and gone through 2 situations during the pandemic that I journaled for my case study. And so I was expecting once I went to college that people would at least respect the fact you're going to college. Honestly, that's my true honest answer. The reality of college is that there are 2 tiers. There is the legacy tier, which is your Greek society, and then there's the second tier, which is all of us that just show up. My experience in college as a student veteran with multiple disabilities is currently being investigated by the University of Wisconsin. I'm asking for a unilateral testing method for all of us who have exacerbated disabilities. So the reality of college is that it's not Las Vegas. Don't think when you go to college you're gonna be staying at the Mandalay Bay after your first semester, because you're not. You're gonna have to learn to shift on the fly for your family if you're gonna do it. Never put them second, always put your family first. I majored in journalism because of the active shooter here, Stephen Paddock. I came out here in 2017 for my first time as I was completing my treatment for the VA. And 3 weeks later, the Vegas shooting happened. And I reflected on that and said, what can I do to help? I can become an investigative journalist to incorporate truth with reality of news reporting. News reporting is not an easy field. When you get into news reporting, you are going to be faced in very critical ethical situations where someone may call you with a tip or a lead and it may be their version of the story. But if it's not fact-checked and vetted, libel becomes a major lawsuit, and you don't want your employer to get into that. So majoring in journalism, I found out would help develop my post-traumatic stress disorder as a tool, as an investigator. So journalism became the marriage. I also received my associate's degree for my journey worker certificate. I'm both a bricklayer and a journalist. And that majoring in journalism gave that to me. Question is, do you feel your choice was sound or misguided? No, it wasn't a choice. I didn't realize until during the COVID pandemic that I was living in a survival state. College is my last resort. It really was. It was either go to school or fall into poverty, and I just keep fighting and climbing the rope every semester. Where I felt it was misguided was that all students would get treated the same, which they don't. We know they don't. One thing I would recommend is to eliminate ageism. We all know it's there, we don't talk about it. What is the most important thing you learned here? Anthropology. We all have a vested interest in collaborative culture. We all have a vested interest in speaking truth about one another's culture. We also have a vested interest in culturally appropriating the news as a representative for all cultures. So, one thing I've learned is to be honest, to stay honest. Have you tried a different pursuit? Yeah, I'm actually doing Gonzo journalism now. By the way, they painted over the Hunter S. Thompson mural, and it's no longer here. So the question is, are you smarter than when you started? Not just in your command of information, but the way you think? Why is that a loaded question? It's multiple parts, but put it to you like this. Where philosophy and political science converge, that's journalism. Altruistic journalism would be objective and to respect everybody from a pragmatic lens and just be a fly on the wall. What I see happening to our future of journalism in America, it's a whole new narrative. You either conform or you don't. If you don't, they block you. So not just in my command. So basically my command means responsibility for my academics, and I do take responsibility for everything. Based on the way I think, yes, philosophy and political science taught me that you can only argue from either a policy or scientific researched fact, which is objectable, to come up with a real true solution. That goes for everything in life. What happened here that all through my course in picking a major, I was a mechanical engineer, pledging to UW-Platteville, and then anthropology happened. Then I said, no, I don't want to go into mechanical engineering. I want to talk about this. And now I'm here with this valedictory essay. So what is the most important thing you have learned here? The most important thing, get along with your professors. They're human, just like us. And that in our social contract, both us and students should have a standard of living that's equal, if not fair or better, than the way we left it before. And the controversial issue I'm dealing with right now with presenting this essay, this interactive journalism piece, very simply is the fine line of what to say. But speaking truth, as a journalist and in the journalism field, you influence many people. And I want to take that decision back to save the world. I'm Bradley J. Burt, reporting in Las Vegas, Nevada, in front of the Mandalay Bay Hotel Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. We had an Elvis sighting. Thank you for being a part of this journey. This concludes the Gonzo-19 pandemic report.